All right. Welcome. Happy Friday, everybody. We are back with another edition of Wine and Ad Tech. We ran into some scheduling snafus last week and couldn't record. And this week, our good friend Matt, the wine expert, was unavailable. So what did I do? I said, you know what? People like to drink all kinds of things. So I recruited a bartending expert, a cocktail expert, a beer expert, whatever you want to call him. His name is Drew. He's my good friend. And we are a couple of Newcastle United fans. Howie, the Magpies, so we're wearing our Newcastle jerseys. And Drew, why don't I kick it over to you? Tell us a little bit about yourself and why I consider you a cocktail / beer / booze expert.
Well, hi, my name's Drew. For one, I attended state school, and so I am definitely a beer expert there. And then I've also been working in bars and restaurants for 13 years, 12 of them as a bartender in Madison, Chicago, and then most recently here in the Twin Cities in Minnesota.
Awesome. And we know each other partially because your wife is a colleague of mine, and she constantly tells us all the time that that is something Drew would do, and I assume she says that is something Smith would do. So happy to have you on, buddy. Yeah, I get that a lot. So Drew, thanks for joining us. What are you drinking these days?
So it's funny. People think because I worked in fancy cocktail bars that when I go home, I'm making fancy 7-ingredient drinks with syrups and tinctures that I made myself. But if you ask just about any bartender, they drink beer when they get home after a long shift or on the weekends. They're rarely making cocktails. So I, especially now, am very focused on supporting local breweries here in the Twin Cities. I've been drinking a lot of beer from BlackStack, which is in St. Paul. Omni Brewing, which is my local favorite out here in the suburbs. It's in Maple Grove, Minnesota. And then a couple from the western part of the state, the Junkyard Brewing in Moorhead. And then just across the border in North Dakota and Fargo is Drekker Brewing. It makes for a nice long weekend over there in the Fargo-Moorhead area, I've been told.
Yeah, that sounds like a lovely, lovely place to tour. There it is, yeah. And I have cracked a beer for this, which I will talk about later. But I am drinking, so my wife, there we go. My wife finally birthed a couple of weeks ago, and so we can now.
Congratulations, buddy.
Thank you. It was really difficult for me, but I made it through it. And she sort of just laid there and gave birth. I'm not really sure what that was all about.
Classic.
But yeah, sure we're going to get some comments on that one. But anyway, I hoarded as much 2013 Napa Cab as possible. Because it is my opinion, and it's shared by many, that the 2013 vintage was as good as it gets, at least that you can get your hands on for Napa cabs. So I am slowly rolling through as much 2013 Napa Cab as possible now that she can drink it with me, which means I am allowed to drink it. So Drew, you're a cocktail guy, you drink beer. Why don't you give us a little cocktail tip, cocktail recipe? What do you got brewing up those short sleeves of yours?
So another one of the things that I like to do is I like my cocktails to be kind of sessionable. I don't want to be drunk after 2 drinks. I like to stay and hang out for a long time. So a Manhattan, classically, is a pretty stiff drink. It would be, a lot of rye whiskey, a little sweet vermouth, and some bitters. But there's a way to reverse that, and you add more sweet vermouth than rye whiskey. And then you have a well-balanced cocktail still that's a little less octane, if it were, for you. And so what I would do is I'd pour 2 ounces of sweet vermouth. I prefer Cocchi di Torino, which is an Italian vermouth. And then 1 ounce of old Overholt Bonded whiskey. You can get
You had me.
You can get old Overholt Rye just about anywhere in the country. It's a nice, reasonably priced bottle that tastes good by itself and is even better for cocktails. Throw in a couple dashes of Angostura bitters, stir it up, pour it into a nice coupe. If you don't have a coupe because you're not a pretentious person, you can just pour it into any sort of glass. And I don't like mine over ice. It is classically served up, but obviously drink it how you like it. And then throw a cherry in there because that's a nice little boozy treat at the end of the drink.
There you go. Would you recommend stirring it up with ice and then straining it out so it comes a little chilled, or do you not like that either?
No, definitely stir it, or else the water content is a very important part of any cocktail. That's why you'll almost always see your cocktail being shaken or stirred, or else it'll just taste kind of bad, honestly. You need the ingredients to play well with each other, and the water helps with that.
Great. All right. That is awesome. So, Drew, I know that you're a man who is perpetually inquisitive. What would you like to know about ad tech?
So, as you mentioned, my wife, Alyssa, does work with you. And so I hear a fair amount about ad tech. Honestly, I probably know more than anybody who doesn't work in it. And what would you say the value of first-party data is, and how can advertisers and media companies monetize it?
Yeah, that's a great question, Drew. It's boy, off the top of my head, I would say that the real value is going to come further and further down the road as the policy or the privacy policies get tighter, get fully enacted, get clearer, get the lines get drawn in the sand, and the cookie apocalypse, so to speak, comes on us. But early on, it's data is only good as the places that you can collect it. And so first party data is actually data collected from the source, like Evian water, straight from the spring. It is data that is that Evian or what? No, that's Fiji. Guess I lost that Fiji sponsorship.
Yeah, down the tubes.
Down the tube. So it's first party data is data that the advertiser themselves collects. So for a publisher, that would be collecting the information on people who visit their site. For an advertiser, same thing, information for people who visit their site. Most people leverage it without explicitly saying I'm leveraging first-party data by doing retargeting. Retargeting is when you go somewhere, you look at a pair of shoes, that pair of shoes follows you all around the internet until it beats you down and you buy them. Shout out to Reebok for being very good at retargeting. You can check my closet. I have many Reeboks. Also great for the wide-footed individual. But first-party data, if you have it as a publisher, I think the key to do is to understand that there's value in that data alone, not just alongside your content. Your content and on your pages, it's obviously sort of the double value. You're getting a brand safe, brand recognition, trusted environment. But that data is also exceptionally important because most people don't spend all 8 hours or 12 hours of their internet time on one website. So being able to track that person you fully verified is important. And more advertisers and agencies are asking publishers to decouple that data from their media. So if you're getting that request, decouple my data from that I want to buy your audience, but I don't want to be on your website, or I want to buy your audience, but I want to be elsewhere, or I want to buy your audience, but I need 50,000 video views and you don't have any video on your site. Leveraging that first-party data is going to be the way to capture that. So if you want to talk more about that, throw it in the comments. Very exciting stuff, first-party data. All right, Drew, let's move on to the fun stuff. What do you got for me on a booze and music pairing?
So a new album that just came out, it was either last night or this morning, from Jason Isbell and the 400 unit, called Reunions. And it's perfect sitting on the back patio now that it's finally warm out and drinking corn whiskey. Drinking corn whiskey. Mellow corn.
I love it. I love it.
And Jason's from the South. Bourbon is born from the South. I think it's a perfect pairing.
That's a way to do it. And we did not plan this, except, of course, maybe we planned the jerseys. But I am drinking Evan Williams Light. That is your 100 proof bottled and bond. For my money, if I only had to drink one more whiskey the rest of my life, I would only drink that. It is the best bang for your buck. Also, all the bottled and bond has a somewhat specific taste that I love. And I am pairing that with the Steeldrivers. For those of you who are Chris Stapleton fans, he blew up solo, but the band he started first was the Steeldrivers. They released 2 albums together. It is technically bluegrass as it contains no percussion, but it is, his voice is the same. The content is great. I highly recommend it if you're into some fast-paced fiddle and you're into some Evan Williams white label. All right.
Smith, have you on the show talked about what it means for a liquor to be bottled in bond?
We have not, and I'm appalled that you haven't watched every episode and know that. But yeah, go ahead. It's a great. Most people don't know it, and they see it all the time, and it's kind of an old-timey throwback reference. So give us the bottled and bond.
Yeah, so it's a government regulation thing for back in the pre-prohibition days, when if you drank certain whiskey, it could probably kill you because somebody made it literally in a bathtub and nobody knows what went in there. So there are a bunch of rules that bottled in bond has to be aged at least 4 years, be exactly 100 proof, and be produced in the same season by the same distiller in a bonded federal warehouse.
Yeah, it's one of those funny things. And I'll tell you, the Old Forester bottled in bond is also one of my favorites, but EW here is about half the price. So there is that. But if you're looking to class it up, I like the Old Forester. All right. So what do you got for me? You know, you are a man like myself, born of Midwestern roots, which means you're broad-shouldered and don't skip meals. So talk to me about the food and booze you've been hitting during quarantine.
Oh, sorry. A hawk just grabbed a squirrel in my backyard, I swear.
Oh my gosh. Can we get that footage? We'll edit that in.
Holy, oh wow, that was crazy. Okay,
at least it wasn't one of your daughters that hawk grabbed. That would have been tragedy.
Yeah, that would have been I would have had to finish my drink and then go out there.
Yeah.
So
important things first.
Right. So sorry, my booze and food combo. I enjoy brunch because it's a nice late breakfast, and as someone who worked nights for a very long time, that was about the time I'd wake up anyway. And I'm not always in the mood for a mimosa or a Bloody Mary. And I think the best beer option is a Hefeweizen. It's a nice, light, bright, banana-y beer that you can get at just about any restaurant. The Germans perfected it. Hacker Shore is an excellent one. A local one here in the Twin Cities for any of your Twin Cities viewers, Utepils makes a really nice Hefeweizen. All of their beer is very European focused and very tasty.
Nice. And I'm going to go with 2 of my favorite things. For those who know me, know that I am a hot sauce fanatic. So this is a hot sauce called La Melita. You can get it online. It is made in San Francisco. It is one of the classic hot sauce styles, which is a carrot and habanero base. You can tell by that orange color. And just right alongside it, one of my favorite beers is made in San Francisco, and that is the Anchor California Lager. I particularly enjoy this one because it is very easy to drink, very much a session beer, very much a thirst-quenching beer when you drink it cold. And when you have a nice hot habanero hot sauce all over something, nothing better than a nice crisp, ice-cold beer. Here we are, ice-cold beer. Trying to do my Bob Euchre. So anyway, Drew, I appreciate you joining us on the show here. Any closing thoughts or final words for the fans out there? This will undoubtedly be seen by millions, as this is LinkedIn's #1 programmatic or ad tech and booze podcast out there. Anything you need us to know before you go?
I'm honored that you had me on. Thank you. It was fun. Just let everybody know it's a PSA. Don't leave your small children unattended outside. A hawk might actually get them. That was really crazy.
I love it. I love it. Live TV, and this isn't TV, but we're live. PSA out there, everybody, stay safe. I know my friends in the state of Wisconsin now have an open state, but I encourage you to be smart about whatever activity it is, and however you choose to do it. Just remember, risk versus reward is always a thing, especially from a degenerate gambler like myself. So Enjoy the rest of the day, everybody. Happy Friday. And Drew, I have a feeling we're going to see your beautiful face again someday. Take care, buddy.